Welcome back to our journey with the Course. We are really glad you're joining us for another day of practice, another exploration together.
It's always great to be sharing this path.
And if you'd like to connect, perhaps share your experiences or ask questions, you can always reach us at ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.
We also share insights on TikTok and YouTube. Our handle there is at the World Harmony Project.
Now, as we dive in, particularly for those maybe newer to the Course, it's worth mentioning the language.
Yes. You'll hear terms like brothers or he sometimes. Just know that these are conventions of the time it was written. Feel free to substitute whatever resonates with you.
Siblings, children of God, sisters.
Source, higher power, the universe. The underlying truth isn't bound by any single word. It points to our oneness.
Today, we're exploring Lesson 181. I trust my brothers, who are one with me. This one, it definitely pushes some buttons, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It challenges some core assumptions about relationship and safety.
As we usually do, we'll read the lesson through first, word for word. It's dense, packed with ideas, so just let it wash over you. We'll unpack it together right afterwards.
And any guesses on how long the reading will take this time?
Learned my lesson there, let's just say. We'll let the words take the time they need.
Good call. Okay, Lesson 181. I trust my brothers, who are one with me. Trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you've perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes and past his seeming sins as well as yours. Perception has a focus. It is this that gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent which has replaced the one you held before. Remove your focus on your brother's sins, and you experience the peace that comes from faith and sinlessness. This faith receives its only sure support from what you see in others past their sins. For their mistakes, if focused on, are witnesses to sins in you, and you will not transcend their sight and see the sinlessness that lies beyond. Therefore, in practicing today, we first let all such little focuses give way to our great need to let our sinlessness become apparent. We instruct our minds that it's this we seek, and only this, for just a little while. We do not care about our future goals, and what we saw in instant previous has no concern for us within this interval of time wherein we practice changing our intent. We seek for innocence and nothing else. We seek for it with no concern but now. A major hazard to success has been involvement with your past and future goals. You've been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from those you held before. And you've also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. How could this matter? For the past is gone, the future but imagined. These concerns are but defenses against present change of focus and perception, nothing more. We lay these pointless limitations by a little while. We do not look to past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. We enter the time of practicing with one intent, to look upon the sinlessness within. We recognize that we have lost this goal if anger blocks our way in any form. And if our brother's sins occur to us, our narrowed focus will restrict our sight and turn our eyes upon our own mistakes, which we will magnify and call our sins. So for a little while, without regard to past or future, should such blocks arise, we will transcend them with instructions to our minds to change their focus, as we say. It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers, who are one with me. And we will also use this thought to keep us safe throughout the day. We do not seek for long-range goals. As each obstruction seems to block the vision of our sinlessness, we seek but for surcease and instant from the misery the focus upon sin will bring, and uncorrected will remain. Nor do we ask for fantasies, for what we seek to look upon is really there. And as our focus goes beyond mistakes, we will behold a holy, sinless world. When seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception, are the eyes of Christ inevitably ours. And the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. This will become the only thing we see reflected in the world and in ourselves. The world which once proclaimed our sins becomes the proof that we are sinless. And our love for everyone we look upon attests to our remembrance of the Holy Self, which knows no sin, and never could conceive of anything without its sinlessness. We seek for this remembrance as we turn our minds to practicing today. We look neither ahead nor backwards. We look straight into the present. And we give our trust to the experience we ask for now. Our sinlessness is but the will of God. This instant is our willing one with his.
That lesson really gets right to the core of things.
It truly does. It's central to this whole shift in perception that the Course guides us through.
My immediate reaction, honestly, the first time I read this years ago was something like, trust my brothers. Seriously, have you met some of my brothers?
Right. That's the immediate ego reaction for almost everyone, I think, because we have experiences that seem to contradict this trust.
And that's precisely the trap, isn't it? We catalog the mistakes, the perceived flaws, the ways people have let us down.
And in doing that, we magnify those errors. We make them the whole picture.
We lose sight of anything else that might be true about them or about us.
Exactly. The lesson points out that focusing on sin in others actually reinforces our own belief in sinfulness. If we see them as limited, flawed, sinful,
Then unconsciously, we're proclaiming that we must be limited and flawed too, because we're one.
that's the radical connection it makes. It flips the script on judgment.
So a key idea here is that perception has a focus. What we choose to look at gets bigger in our experience.
It gains consistency, as the lesson says. If you focus on mistakes, you consistently see a world of mistakes.
And when we attack or judge others, dwelling on their errors, we're really just stating our own perceived limits.
We're saying this far and no further. We're blocking our own awareness of the self, the part beyond mistakes.
Which means trusting in others' inherent sinlessness, that deeper reality, is actually essential for finding our own innocence.
You can't find your innocence while projecting guilt onto others. It doesn't work that way.
And this point about past and future goals, that one always gets me.
That they're defenses against changing our perception now.
All those plans, those regrets, those anxieties, they keep us from seeing what's right here in this moment.
Which is where the shift actually happens.
True vision then sees beyond the mistakes. It looks past the errors to the sinlessness that's always present underneath.
It's always there. We just have to be willing to change our focus.
So this practice isn't just about seeing others differently. It transforms how we see the world and definitely how we see ourselves.
It's a complete overhaul. And I remember my own resistance, that feeling of, but they did do this. How can I just ignore it?
Yes, like when someone cuts you off in traffic, that immediate flash of anger replaying their sin in your mind.
Absolutely. You spend all this mental energy cataloging their wrongdoing.
And what this lesson suggests is that doing that, focusing on the sin, actually reinforces the idea that sin is real.
Which includes sin in us. It makes the whole concept seem more solid, more true.
The lesson says those magnified errors become locks to our awareness of the self. Focusing on their mistakes literally hides our own innocence from us.
Now, this isn't about becoming naive, is it? It's not suggesting we ignore harmful behavior or pretend it didn't happen.
Not at all. That's a common misunderstanding. It's about recognizing that the person acting out, the ego behavior,
Is not the same thing as the eternal self within them. They aren't equivalent.
right. Trusting the deeper self, their inherent sinlessness, doesn't mean trusting their ego choices or their current behavioral patterns, especially if they're harmful.
It's trusting something more fundamental, their true identity.
Which can be really challenging when someone is consistently difficult. It feels like you're just sidestepping a very real problem.
And sometimes practical steps are needed. Setting boundaries is often crucial. But the lesson asks us to distinguish trusting their ego from trusting their deeper truth.
You can trust their inherent innocence while still saying, this behavior is not acceptable in my space.
You can set a boundary clearly, firmly, but ideally without the energy of attack or condemnation.
I had a breakthrough with this using an analogy. Maybe it helps someone listening. Think about someone having, say, a severe hypoglycemic attack.
Okay, low blood sugar. They might act erratically, even aggressively.
Exactly. Or think of an injured animal lashing out in fear and pain.
Right. In those cases, you wouldn't take it personally. You wouldn't think, wow, what a malicious person, or what an evil animal.
You'd understand that behavior is coming from a temporary state, illness, injury, fear, not from their inherent nature.
That maps beautifully onto how the Course talks about the ego-identified mind as unhealed. It's acting from a place of perceived lack, fear, or pain.
It's like they're operating from that state of imbalance, that unhealed condition.
So you can protect yourself from the behavior.
Absolutely, you have to.
While still holding the space for their inherent worth, their sinlessness beneath the illness or injury of the ego.
Yes. mentally framing it like that, seeing harmful behavior as stemming from an unhealed state, like a virus they're dealing with, helps me maintain that perception.
It takes the personal sting out of it.
And it helps me remember that I hope others extend that same grace to me when I inevitably act out from my unhealed places.
That's a powerful way to frame it.
Let's circle back to that point about past and future goals being a major hazard to success.
That one resonates deeply for me, too. I can look back at goals I used to cling to.
Driven by ego.
Completely. And they led to so much striving, so much feeling inadequate when things didn't go according to my plan.
Holding on to disappointment, maybe anger at perceived unfairness.
Oh, definitely. Anger at the world, anger at myself for choices made with limited understanding back then.
It's such a heavy burden to carry around.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the relief in just setting it down, realizing those goals aren't the point.
The point is now, this present moment. Practicing seeing shared innocence and holiness right now.
All that mental churning about the past, worrying about the future, it just clouds our ability to have a direct experience of peace in this instant.
I remember encountering the idea, maybe phrased slightly differently, asking, just for this moment, can you let go of your entire case against this person?
Yes, or even against yourself.
Right. Can you just suspend your investment in their guilt or your own just for a second?
Just long enough to see if maybe something else is there, something beyond the story of sin and judgment.
And when you do that, even briefly, the shift in how you feel, how you see, it's undeniable.
It changes your self-perception almost instantly.
This connects directly to anger, too. The lesson says, if anger arises, our narrowed focus will restrict our sight and turn our eyes upon our own mistakes, which we will magnify and call our sins.
Holding on to anger literally makes us see more wrongness, especially in ourselves.
It doesn't empower us. It makes us feel worse, smaller, more separate.
Which brings us back to that core practice phrase.
It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me.
It's like a mental reset button, a way to consciously choose a different focus when we catch ourselves magnifying errors.
Simple words, but profoundly challenging to apply sometimes.
Which leads perfectly into a question we received. It really brings us down to earth.
Yes, they said, basically, okay, I get the concept, but how do I trust my ex-husband? He lied repeatedly, broke trust constantly. We have to co-parent, so I can't just avoid him. How do I trust him without being foolish?
That is such a real and important question. And the listener is right. Trusting his past behavioral patterns or ego-driven choices wouldn't be wise.
The Course isn't asking for that kind of trust. It's not about naivete.
No. The trust lesson 181 speaks of is different. It's trusting the truth of who he is beyond those patterns.
Trusting the Christ in him, essentially, the shared innocent self.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you trust him to suddenly start acting differently tomorrow. You trust the eternal reality of his being, which is one with yours.
So practically, this might look like setting very clear, firm boundaries.
Absolutely necessary for co-parenting, especially with a history of broken trust.
But setting them from a place of clarity, not attack, without making him wrong in that deeper sense.
For example, saying, I need our pickup arrangements confirmed in writing by Tuesday, is different from yelling, you're so unreliable, I can't trust anything you say.
The first sets a clear boundary based on need. The second is an attack based on past grievances.
And holding on to those grievances, as the lesson implies, actually binds us. It keeps us tied to the very pain we want to escape.
So trusting his deeper innocence, even while managing his unreliable behavior with practical wisdom.
That's what frees us. We stop carrying the weight of his mistakes. We can have safe interactions without carrying the bitterness.
Maybe starting small helps, like just practicing trusting that his defensiveness or hurtful actions stem from his own pain, his own unhealed state.
Rather than from inherent malice aimed directly at you.
It shifts the energy, though, as always, safety first.
Crucially, if interaction feels unsafe, physically or emotionally, then seeking support, legal help, therapy, meeting in public, that's part of the wisdom.
It comes back to that dementia analogy, perhaps. If your grandmother lashes out, you protect yourself physically.
You wouldn't let her hit you.
But you wouldn't hold it against her, her true essence. You'd understand it's the illness.
You maintain love and compassion, even while setting a firm physical boundary.
Apply that here. Protect yourself from the actions of the unhealed mind, the unreliable ego patterns.
While simultaneously holding the vision of his true, innocent self. Recognizing that's still there, untouched by the behavior.
It's a high bar sometimes, changing perception that radically, especially with deep wounds. but the freedom it offers is immense.
It really is. Maybe we can walk through some concrete steps applying this to that co-parenting situation or really any challenging relationship.
Okay. Step 1. Recognize the focus trap. When you find yourself mentally rehearsing past hurts or betrayals before you even interact,
Which is so easy to do.
just notice it. Acknowledge, okay, right now I'm focusing on their sins, their past mistakes, and I know this limits what I can see.
Step 2. Apply the lessons practice. Consciously use the words. It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. Remind yourself you're choosing to trust their inherent essence, not their track record.
Step 3. Set boundaries from clarity and not attack. Ask yourself, what boundary or practical step do I need here to protect myself or our child while still honoring their deeper innocence?
Maybe it's written confirmations. Maybe it's parallel parenting with minimal interaction. Maybe it's using a specific communication app.
Identify the need. Then communicate that need clearly, simply, without blame or accusation. Focus on the practical requirement.
Step 4. Practice the vision. During the necessary interactions, make an effort, even for a moment, to see past the difficult behavior. Try to glimpse the innocent self behind the ego's defenses. See with that Christ vision.
And step 5. Release the outcome. Approach each interaction as much as possible as a fresh start. Afterwards, consciously let go of trying to change them or needing them to admit fault.
Your focus is on seeing their sinlessness to restore your own peace, not on fixing their behavior. Their healing is their path. Your peace is yours to claim now.
And always, if safety is a concern, that takes precedence. Boundaries first. This lesson is a radical experiment in perception, isn't it? Shifting from using mistakes as proof of separation
To actively looking for the sinlessness that connects us. It's practical training in seeking what's true beneath what seems obvious.
The lesson powerfully states that what we focus on creates our experienced reality. Focus on sin, you get a sinful world, and you feel sinful.
But shift that focus. Actively seek innocence in others. And you begin to see that holy, sinless world. You remember your own holy self. That choice is always here.
And it shows that trust, this deeper trust in inherent worth, can absolutely coexist with worldly wisdom. You honor their true identity and respond appropriately to their current behavior.
This kind of trust doesn't lead to vulnerability. It leads to freedom. Freedom from grievance. Freedom from carrying their burden.
Practicing seeing past the sins in others is ultimately how we transform our perception of ourselves and the world.
That recognition that innocence is real. In everyone, including ourselves. That's the miracle the Course offers.
Thank you truly for joining us today, for engaging with these deep, sometimes challenging ideas with such openness. Your willingness to practice is making a difference.
We'll continue tomorrow with Lesson 182. Until then, perhaps carry that intention to trust the underlying innocence in yourselves and everyone you encounter.
Take care and remember, you are so deeply loved.
We'll see you tomorrow.